In the previous video, we came to know that the narrator's wife Mary informed him that they were going to sink as the boat was about to sink. The narrator asked her to grab the wheels and he made his way towards the door. Now, let us see what he did ahead in order to save them. Larry and Herb were pumping like madmen. Broken timbers hung at crazy angles. The whole starboard side bulged inwards. Cloths, crockery, charts, tins, and toys sloshed about in deep water. The narrator here describes that his two crewmen, Larry and Herb, were pumping out water like madmen if they had gone crazy. In this way, they were pumping water out of the boat. The broken timbers, those wood that had broken, that was hanging there in crazy angles, in not a good way. The whole starboard means right side. The complete right side had bulged, it had been broken and it was bulged, it was hanging inwards. Not only that was enough, the cloths, crockery, charts, tins, and toys sloshed about in deep water. These things were floating all around in the water. I half swam, half crawled into the children's cabin. Are you all right? I asked. The narrator half swam in the water. He half crawled and then he reached to the cabin of his children and asked them if they were all right, if they had been well. Yes, they answered from an upper bunk. But my head hurts a bit, said Sue, pointing to a big bump above her eye. I had no time to worry about bumped heads. When the narrator questioned them if they had been all right, if they were all right, they answered in positive that they had been all right. Their answer came from the upper bunk, but soon the narrator's daughter Sue complained that there was hurt in her head was giving her hurt. Her head was aching, and as there was a bump, but the narrator did not pay much attention because he did not have enough time to see the bumped heads as he was busy in saving the boat. After finding a hammer, screws, and canvas, I struggled back on deck. He searched a hammer, some screws, and canvas, the thick cloth, and he came back on the deck so that he could repair. With the starboard side bashed open, we were taking water with each wave that broke over us. As the starboard side, as the right side of the boat had broken and it was hanging inwards, so as the waves came, a lot of water reached inside the boat, and if the water was not thrown out, it was sure that they would sink. If I could not make some repairs, we would surely sink. The narrator thought that if the broken parts were not repaired properly in time, it was sure that the boat would sink, that the ship would sink, wave walker would sink, and along with the ship, all the crew members would sink into the deep ocean. Somehow I managed to stretch canvas and secure waterproof hatch covers across the gaping holes. The narrator says that in some way he arranged to stretch canvas at the places where there had been holes and where it had been broken. He managed it. And now he went towards the roof, towards the door covers, and he also covered the gaping holes. Some water continued to stream below, but most of it was now being deflected over the side. The narrator says that though he had repaired, yet some water was coming inside. But most of the water was being deflected, was being turned over the side, and now for some time they felt that they were secure. More problems arose when our hand pumps started to block up with the debris floating around the cabins and the electric pump short circuited. The problems grew. How? More problems arose. Problems grew. The problems became big when their hand pumps started to block as there were debris and there were rubbish all around. The rubbish came inside the hand pumps and the hand pump became blocked. The hand pumps got blocked as the debris were floating all around, and as if it was not enough, the electric pump short circuited. Now, the electric pump and hand pump both stopped working. The electric pump short circuited and hand pumps got choked, got jammed due to the debris floating around. The water level rose threateningly. Now, as the pumps had stopped working, so the water level rose in a horrifying way. Back on deck, I found that our two spare hand pumps had been ranged overboard, along with the forestay sail, the jib, the dinghy, and the main anchor. The narrator came back on the deck and he came to know that his two additional hand pumps had been thrown into the water, they had been broken, and not only the hand pumps but also along with four staysail, the jib, the dinghy. Dinghy means small boats, and the main anchor had also been thrown into water. It had been broken. It had been thrown into water. The night dragged on with. Sorry. Then I remembered we had another electric pump under the chart room floor. I connected it to an out pipe and was thankful to find that it worked. Now the narrator remembered that he had another electric pump. He had an additional electric pump in the chart room. He found it, brought it out, and connected it to an outer pipe. He was thankful to Lord. He was thankful to God that it worked. The night dragged on with an endless, bitterly cold routine of pumping, steering, and working the radio. Throughout the night, the whole night, as it was bitterly cold night, they were in the remotest area of the ocean. They continued pumping, they continued working on the steering wheel, and they continued working on the radio. But we were getting no reply to our mayday calls. Mayday calls, they are those calls when a crew member gives a message that his ship is in danger and he is in need of help. To our mayday calls, which was not surprising in this remote corner of the world. The narrator says that he was in the remotest corner of the world, so his mayday calls, his signals for help were not being responded, and it was not surprising as he was, not he, but the complete crew was in the remotest corner of the world. Sue's head had swollen alarmingly. She had two enormous black eyes, and now she showed us a deep cut on her arm. The narrator's daughter's eyes had swollen as she had got hurt on her head. His, her eyes were swollen, and only two black small eyes were being shown. Now she showed us a deep cut on her arm, and not only that, but also she showed that there was a deep cut on her arm. When I asked why she had not made more of her injuries before this, she replied, I did not want to worry you when you were trying to save us all. The narrator questioned her why she did not tell him earlier, and then she told him that she did not want to worry them because the narrator himself and other members were busy in trying to rescue them, in trying to save them. Remaining in the next video, dear friends.